Hey, beautiful people. Today we will take a look at your endocrine system. Please note that your endocrine system consists of cells, tissues, and organs that produce a blood-borne chemical known as your hormones. Later on, as we go through, we'll take a look at your hormones. Okay? The endocrine system, please note that it regulates metabolic activities in certain organs and tissues of the body by the action of this blood-borne chemical known as your hormones. With that being said, since it regulates metabolic activities, it helps to bring about homeostasis or balance to an organism. Okay, please note that your autonomic nervous system also regulates certain organs and tissues, but then it acts differently. Okay, comparing it with your endocrine system, paano po? Your autonomic nervous system does the regulation via nerve impulses or impulses that initiate the release of neurotransmitter substances. And yes, in case of your autonomic nervous system, it produces a rapid response in the tissues that are affected. Unlike Unlike the nervous system, your endocrine system produces a slow and diffused effect via the chemical substances known as your hormones again. Your hormones, they act slowly, accordingly. Okay? They act slowly. Okay? And yes, these hormones are released into the bloodstream of your capillary beds to influence target cells at remote sites. Please note, okay, it requires your hormones somewhat requires the bloodstream. Kanina, your hormones requires the bloodstream. Please note, the products or the secretions again of your endocrine system are hormones. And please note that your endocrine glands, they are ductless or they do not have ducts. Okay? And yes, your hormones or the endocrine system synthesize and secrete hormones directly into the blood and lymph capillaries. Okay, because they are again ductless. The cells of your endocrine system are arranged into cords and clumps, and they are surrounded by an extensive capillary network. This extensive capillary network is utilized for the transport of the secretion. Okay? Your hormones, they act at a distance from the site of their release. Okay? They act at a distance. So, paano po sila nakakarating to their target organ or to the target cell? It's via the bloodstream or via the circulation. Okay? Your hormones first enter the bloodstream to be transported to the target organs. Okay? Please note again that your hormone is a biological substance secreted by an endocrine tissue that will act on specific target cells through cell receptors. Okay? Paulit-ulit po. Your hormones utilize the bloodstream and interstitial fluid, or it utilizes the circulation as a transport medium, and they exert effect on interaction with hormone-specific receptors that are located on target cells. These receptors can be cell surface receptors, which are located at the surface, and intracellular receptors, which are located inside the cell. Okay, accordingly, your hormones can be classified according to their chemical nature. Again, your hormones, these are the secretory products or the secretions of the cells of your endocrine system. Okay, your hormones can be classified according to their chemical nature as you have amino acid derivatives. Example, you have adrenaline, noradrenaline, and tyrosine. They can also be classified as small proteins. Example of your small protein hormones, you have TRH or your thyroid releasing hormone or your thyrotropin releasing hormone, ADH or your antidiuretic hormone, and your encephalins. They can also be classified as proteins. Example of a protein hormone are insulin or polypeptide, TSH, PTH, parathyroid hormone, mga ganon. And then, steroids. Hormones can be steroids in nature. Example of your steroid hormones are progesterone, estrogen, cortisol, and testosterone is an example of a steroid hormones. Please note that most of your chemical messengers are water soluble or they are hydrophilic. Okay, they are water soluble or hydrophilic molecules that diffuse freely and they usually interact with the cell surface receptor protein. However, please note that your steroids they are not water soluble. Okay, your steroids in thyroxine are water insoluble or they are not hydrophilic. They are hydrophobic molecules and thus they require a carrier. Okay, they require a carrier. After they require a carrier and after being carried to a cell by the specific proteins in the blood, they pass through its membrane to interact with the receptor proteins present inside. Okay, that is for your steroid hormones. Okay, let's take a look at the mechanism of action of your hormones. Please note, sabi natin kanina, that your hormones, they are secreted in this specific organ and their target location sometimes are located far from the organ. Okay, your and yes, they are transported via the bloodstream or via the circulation. Please note that your protein hormones bind with your cell surface receptors. Okay, they bind with the cell surface receptors. And what does it do? After binding, it will activate production of second messengers. Example of your second messengers are cyclic adenosine monophosphate or 1,2-diacylglycerol or calcium ions. Those are examples of second messengers. The second messenger will amplify and produce physiological effects. Okay, this is for your cell surface receptors. Again, your protein hormones, once reaching the target organ, it will bind to the cell surface receptors and the binding will activate the production of second messengers, and the second messengers will amplify and produce physiological effects. How about those present? How about those intracellular receptors? Your intracellular receptors, or sorry, your steroid and your thyroid hormones can penetrate the cell membrane and the nuclear membrane to reach your intracellular receptors. Okay? Please go back to the structure of your plasma membrane kung bakit nakaka-pass through yung steroid and thyroid hormones. Okay? Your steroid and thyroid hormones will penetrate the cell membrane and then the nuclear membrane to reach the intracellular receptors. And what does it do? These hormones will bind to the intracellular receptors. After that, of course, it will trigger your messenger RNA production. Okay, it will trigger your mRNA production, and then this mRNA is coded to produce a new protein. Okay, mRNA is produced, and this mRNA is decoded, and a new protein is formed. And what does this new protein do? This new protein will cause the physiological effects. Okay, the newly formed protein will cause the physiological effects. That is in case of your intracellular receptors. Okay, let's take a look at the mechanism of action of hormone secretion. Okay, you have here, please note that your endocrine, when you say endocrine secretion, the endocrine or the hormone has a target cell that is located far away from the organ or far away from the cell. Okay, with that, in your endocrine secretion, the hormones travel through the bloodstream to distant targets. What about your paracrine secretion as shown here? Your paracrine secretion, the the secreted hormone or the secretion will act on nearby cells. Let's take a look at this example. This one is the cell that produces the chemical signal or the hormone. And yes, the the chemical signal has a receptor on the cells nearby, on the nearby cells. Okay, that is for your paracrine secretion. What about autocrine secretion? In autocrine secretion, the cells the cells has a surface receptors. Okay, the secretion is produced by the cell, but then the receptors are located at the surface of the cell. That is why, paano po siya mangyayari? The secretion will move out and then will attach to the receptors at the surface. Okay? And then you have your synaptic secretion. Your synaptic secretion here is via, of course, your synapse. Okay, and so synaptic secretion from a neuron to your target cell. From a neuron to your target cell. Okay, and then you have your juxtacrine. It requires a direct cell-to-cell contact accordingly. And that is your synaptic secretion is an example of a juxtacrine secretion. Juxtacrine secretion requires a direct cell-to-cell contact. Okay? Again, our focus here is your endocrine secretion, 'di ba? Your endocrine tissues are highly vascular, sabi natin kanina. And yes, this high vascularity will facilitate the rapid dissemination of secreted products into the bloodstream. Okay? That is to reach the target organ accordingly. Okay? And please note again that endocrine messengers are relatively slow and they need to diffuse into the bloodstream and then circulate to the target organ. I mean circulate to the circulation and reach the target organ and then enter a target cell. Okay. Your hierarchical regulation of hormone. Okay, please note there is also a hierarchy dito. Please note that one hormone stimulates the release of another hormone from a different gland. Okay, that is for the hierarchical regulation of your hormone. Let's take a look at this example. In your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, and then a target or yes, an effector gland. Okay, let's take a look at this. Please note, sabi natin ulit in your hierarchical regulation of your hormone, one hormone will stimulate the release of another hormone from a different gland. Okay, your hypothalamus, this one is accordingly the command center of the endocrine system. Okay, it is the command center of the endocrine system. But then your pituitary gland, that is the master gland of the endocrine system. And what does it do? Your pituitary gland will produce releasing hormones that control the activity of other endocrine glands and other endocrine organs and other endocrine tissues. Okay, let's take a look at this hierarchical regulation. Example natin is your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, and then your effector gland. Okay? Your hypothalamus releases your releasing hormones. Your hypothalamus releases your releasing hormones. Huwag kayong malilito ha. There is a releasing hormone in the context. There is a releasing hormone and there is a stimulating hormone. Releasing hormones together with inhibiting hormones, they are secreted or they will come from your hypothalamus. Okay, example, your thyrotropin releasing hormone. This is released by your hypothalamus. It will come from hypothalamus. And what is the target organ? What is the target organ of your thyrotropin releasing hormone? It targets your pituitary gland. Okay, the target is your pituitary gland. And your what do you call this? Your thyrotropin releasing hormone will stimulate the pituitary gland to release thyroid stimulating hormone. So in this case, your hypothalamus releases the releasing hormone, and then your pituitary gland will release your stimulating hormone. Okay, balikan po natin in our example. Your hypothalamus releases a thyrotropin releasing hormone, and this thyrotropin releasing hormone will go to your pituitary gland to stimulate the pituitary to release thyroid stimulating hormone. What is the function of this TSH then? It will stimulate the thyroid gland to release T3 and T4. Ano pang mangyayari kay TSH? It will leave the pituitary gland and go to the thyroid gland to stimulate the release of T3 and T4. Ganun po ang hierarchical regulation of hormones. Okay? And so, insert na po natin your feedback loop. A rising T3 and T4 levels will inhibit TRH and TSH production. And that is a negative feedback. Okay, that is a negative feedback. Again, your hypothalamus, that is the command center of the endocrine system, thereby, paano po siya nagko-command? It regulates the hormone secretion by controlling your pituitary gland. Okay? There is also this blood-borne signals. Okay, there is also this blood-borne signals wherein your hormone release is triggered by changes in the blood levels of ions or nutrients. Okay, let's take a look at this example in case of your blood-borne signals. Okay, let's take a look. In case of high blood glucose will stimulate the pancreas to release insulin. The increase in blood glucose levels, that is a signal to stimulate the pancreas to release insulin. Okay? Another example, low calcium levels. Low calcium levels in the blood will stimulate parathyroid gland to release PTH or parathyroid hormone, which then will cause the release or will stimulate the osteoclastic activity of your osteoclast. Okay, and for the feedback, okay, once the blood levels normalize, the hormone release is reduced. Okay? Okay, let's take a look at your primary versus secondary endocrine disorders. Sa huling portion na sana ito, pero baka makalimutan natin. Okay? Since may sinabi po tayo na releasing, stimulating, and then, what we call this, effector cells. Okay? Your primary versus secondary endocrine disorders, idagdag na din po natin tertiary. Okay? When you say primary endocrine disorders, there is a low target hormone. Okay? So, ang problema dito is the target gland itself. Let's take a look at this example. When you say primary hypothyroidism, there is a problem at the thyroid gland. There is a problem at the target hormone, but there is a high stimulating hormone. What about secondary? There is a low target hormone and low stimulating hormone. So probably there is a defect in the target gland itself, and there is also a defect in the source, in the gland that produces stimulating hormone. And what is the gland that produces a stimulating hormone? It's the pituitary gland. Okay, dalawa na po silang may problema doon. What about kapag sinabi natin tertiary? There is low stimulating hormone from the hypothalamus. Meaning, there is low releasing hormone. There is low releasing hormone. Okay? Kapag primary, target gland lang po ang problema. Kapag secondary, the target gland and the pituitary gland. Kapag tertiary, the problem is the hypothalamus that releasing hormone. Okay? You have your endocrine system. Please note that your endocrine system, they are made of endocrine cells that are present in the form of endocrine glands or a cluster of cells in organs, or may occur in singles. Okay, and so yes, let's take a look. You have your glands, you have your pituitary glands, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, adrenal, pancreas, and pineal. Okay, your clusters of cells in organs. You have your ovarian follicles, your corpus luteum. Okay, and so these are present in the gonads, of course. Your ovarian follicles and corpus luteum, they are present in the gonads. Your Leydig cells in testes, present in the gonads pa rin po. Your syncytial trophoblast in your placenta, in case of pregnancy. And then your pancreatic islets or your islets of Langerhans in the pancreas. Okay? And some cells in the thymus and kidney. Diba? If you remember, your thymus, it is capable of producing thymosin, and then your kidney is capable of producing erythropoietin. That is important in blood cell production. Diba? Okay. And then you have isolated cells in the epithelium, your endocrine cells of the gut, 'di ba? You have your enteroendocrine cells na napag-usapan po natin. Okay? And then you have neuroendocrine cells also. Okay? Those are your cells, glands, or cluster of cells that make up your endocrine system. Pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland is also known as your hypophysis cerebri, and it is again a small endocrine gland about the size of a pea that lies in the hypophyseal fossa or sella turcica of your sphenoid bone. Please note that it is suspended from the floor of the third ventricle of the brain by infundibulum or your connecting stalk. Your hypophysis cerebri, again, is, sabi ko kanina, your pituitary gland is the master gland. Okay? The master gland because the secretions of your pituitary gland influence the activity of most of your endocrine glands. Okay? Your hypothalamus naman is the control center, 'di ba? Okay, hindi po siya master gland, but then it's the control center. Okay? Your hypophysis cerebri or your pituitary gland is divided into two functional components. You have your adenohypophysis and then your neurohypophysis. Kapag adenohypophysis, it is on the anterior lobe or the anterior pituitary gland. Okay, para po hindi malito, adeno anterior. Okay? And it consists of a glandular epithelium. It consists of a glandular epithelium. Please note it has three divisions. You have a pars distalis, a pars intermedia, and a pars tuberalis. The pars distalis here is the largest part. And then your pars intermedia, it is located between the pars distalis and pars nervosa. Okay, your pars intermedia, it is a remnant of the pouch of Raschke and rudimentary in humans accordingly. Remnant of the pouch kung saan po galing itong pituitary gland. Okay, your pars intermedia possess cells or cells of follicle or vesicles. which are basophils and chromophobes. And please note that these cells present in the pars intermedia secrete melanocyte-stimulating hormone that stimulate production of skin pigments by melanocytes. Okay, and saan po natin napag-aralan ang melanocytes? It is present in the stratum or in the epidermis of the skin. Okay? And then you have your pars tuberalis. Your pars tuberalis surrounds the neural stalk. Accordingly, it is an extension of your anterior pituitary gland that wraps around the infundibular stalk. It will surround the neural stalk or your infundibular stalk. Please note it is highly vascular and has a primary capillary plexus of hypothalamus-hypophyseal portal system. Again, it is highly vascular and has your primary capillary plexus of hypothalamus-hypophyseal portal system. Okay, and yes, it consists of small clusters of cords of cells. Okay, that is for your pars distalis, pars intermedia, and pars tuberalis of your adenohypophysis subdivisions. What about the neurohypophysis? Okay, it consists of a neurosecretory tissue. Okay, it consists of a neurosecretory tissue. This one is an illustration of your pituitary gland. Okay, the green colored one here is your anterior pituitary gland, and then the gray colored is your posterior pituitary gland. Of course, okay. And the red here is of course your uh, hypothalamo hypophyseal portal system. Okay, and so you have the pituitary stalk, you have the pars tuberalis, and then, okay, your pars intermedia accordingly. Okay, your neurohypophysis, please note that it consists of three parts. Okay, you have the median eminence that is located at the base of the hypothalamus, an infundibulum that connects the neurohypophysis to the hypothalamus, and then a pars nervosa that is the largest portion, which consists of unmyelinated axons and petricides. Okay, that is for your posterior pituitary gland or your neurohypophysis. Okay. Your blood supply and control of secretion in the pituitary gland. Okay. Please note that there is what you call as hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system. Okay. Your superior hypophyseal arteries supply the pars tuberalis and the infundibulum. And these arteries, they form an extensive capillary network, forming your primary capillary bed in the median eminence. While your inferior hypophyseal system or inferior hypophyseal arteries, they primarily supply the posterior lobe. Okay, they primarily supply the posterior lobe, although they also send a few branches to the anterior lobe accordingly. Your hypophyseal portal veins drain the primary capillary bed of the median eminence and deliver their blood to the secondary capillary bed located in the pars distalis. Okay? Your hypophyseal portal system or your hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system of veins delivers neurosecretory hormones from the primary capillary plexus of the median eminence to the secondary capillary plexus of the pars distalis. Please note, pakatandaan po your primary capillary plexus of the median eminence here. Your axons from the hypothalamus terminate around the capillary beds of pituitary gland. Okay, again, the axons of neurons coming from the portions of hypothalamus terminate around the primary capillary plexus in the median eminence. Okay, again, the axons of neurons coming from the various portions of the hypothalamus terminate around the primary capillary plexus of the median eminence. Okay, and please note these axons coming from the hypothalamus, the endings differ from other axons of the body because the axons here, instead of delivering a signal to another cell, they liberate hypothalamic secretory hormones instead of what you call this, passing an impulse or delivering a signal, okay, or an impulse. The axons present here, okay, do not deliver an impulse. It delivers hypothalamic secretory hormones. Okay? They liberate hypothalamic hormones directly to the connective tissue surrounding the primary capillary plexus. Okay? And what does this hypothalamic secretory hormones do? Okay? The hormones, these are taken by the hormones secreted into the connective tissue surrounding the capillary beds. They are taken into the capillary beds. They are taken into the capillary beds, and then they are taken or brought to your hypophyseal portal system and delivered to the secondary capillary bed of the pars distalis. Okay? Then they will leave the capillaries to regulate the secretion of various anterior pituitary hormones accordingly. Okay, that is how your hormones from that is how you're releasing hormones from the pituitary gland. That is how your hormones from the hypothalamus are delivered to the pituitary gland. Okay? Because of this arrangement of vascular flow, the releasing hormones coming from the hypothalamus do not have to enter the systemic circulation. Okay? They do not have to enter the systemic circulation to reach to reach the pituitary gland. And therefore, they are not diluted by larger blood volume and can act in a timely manner in the regulation of the release of the anterior pituitary hormone. So somewhat mas mabilis ang action. Okay, in this case. Okay, that is for your blood supply and control of secretion of the pituitary gland. Okay, and so here are your releasing and inhibitory hormones that will, okay, control your pituitary gland. Please note that these releasing hormones, again, sabi natin kanina, releasing hormones they come from your hypothalamus. Okay, the hypothalamus. They come from your hypothalamus. Okay, your thyrotropin releasing hormone, which will stimulate the release of thyroid stimulating hormone, your corticotropin releasing hormone, which will stimulate the release of adrenocorticotropin hormone or your adrenocorticotropic hormone, your somatotropin releasing hormone, which will stimulate the release of somatotropin hormone, or this one is otherwise known as growth hormone releasing hormone. Okay, which will stimulate the release of growth hormone. And then you have your luteinizing hormone releasing hormone, or this one is otherwise known as your gonadotropin releasing hormone, which will stimulate the release of LH, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone. You have your prolactin releasing hormone, which will stimulate the release of prolactin. And then you have your PIH, your prolactin inhibitory hormone, which inhibits prolactin secretion. Those are the releasing hormones and inhibitory hormones that are secreted by your hypothalamus to control your master gland, which is the pituitary gland. Okay, you have here accordingly an illustration of your cells of your master gland. Okay, your cells of your master gland. Your A here are acidophils, and then your B here are basophils, and then you have your chromophobes accordingly. Okay, and so these are cells from your pituitary gland. Okay, your cells of your adenohypophysis. Okay, Okay, your cells of your adenohypophysis are classified based on their stains or the staining characteristics. You have your acidophils, basophils, and chromophobes. Please note that on routine H&E or hematoxylin and eosin staining, the cells of your anterior pituitary gland are grouped as chromophils, your basophils, and acidophils. Okay, chromophils. They have brightly stained granules, and these chromophils are further classified into basophils and acidophils. Okay, your basophils, they will include your thyrotropes, gonadotropes, and corticotropes. Okay, the granules of these basophils stain with the basic dye. They have a blue colored, okay, they have a blue colored granules, and accordingly, basophils account for 10% of the total of your anterior pituitary gland cells. And then you have your acidophils. Your acidophils, they account for 40% of the total anterior pituitary gland cells. Okay, your acidophils, their granules stain with eosin. Okay, they are eosin stained and they have a bright pink color. Okay, your acidophils are somatotrophs and mammotrophs. Okay, your acidophils are somatotrophs and mammotrophs. And then you have your chromophobes. According to your references, your chromophobes, they make up or they account 50% of the total anterior pituitary gland cells. These chromophobes, they do not have granules accordingly. Okay, you have here your chromophobes. Okay, and so of course, the nuclei, and then the cytoplasm is clear. Okay, wala po silang granule, no? Okay, acidophils or your alpha cells. Okay, you have a an orange or a pink cytoplasm, no? Okay. And then your basophils, they take up your hematoxylin or the basic stain, which is your hematoxylin. They have a blue cytoplasm. And then you have your pituicytes. Your pituicytes. Okay, again, another illustration of your cells of the anterior pituitary gland. You have acidophils in A, okay, basophils, and then chromophobes accordingly. Cells of your adenohypophysis, you have your somatotrophs. Please note this is an acidophil, and your somatotroph is otherwise known as your growth hormone cells. They constitute 50% of your anterior pituitary and produce your growth hormone or somatotropin. Your somatotropin is for cell metabolism and general body growth. Your growth hormone regulates body growth before puberty, and excess secretion will cause gigantism in children and acromegaly in adults. Okay, and so again, somatotropin will stimulate the liver to produce somatomedins. These somatomedins will influence your cartilage cells and the epiphyseal plates to increase growth in length. Okay, epiphyseal plates of long bones. Okay, secretion of your growth hormone cell or your somatotrop. Okay, your mammotrop, or this one is otherwise known as lactotrop. Okay, they constitute about 15 to 20% of your anterior pituitary and produce your prolactin. Okay, your prolactin stimulate your prolactin stimulates mammary gland development during pregnancy and maintains milk production after parturition. Okay, your thyrotropes. They constitute about 5% of your anterior pituitary and secrete your TSH. They secrete your thyroid stimulating hormone, which in turn this TSH will stimulate your thyroid gland hormones. Your thyroid gland produces thyroxine and triiodothyronine. Gonadotropes. Your gonadotropes, they secrete both a follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Okay? Your females, your FSH will stimulate follicular development, maturation, and estrogen production. And your LH will induce follicular maturation, ovulation, and corpus luteum formation. Also, your corpus luteum will secrete estrogen and progesterone. Before I forget, please note that your gonadotropes, okay, these are basophils, no? These are basophils. They constitute about 10% of your anterior pituitary and secrete your luteinizing again and your follicle stimulating hormone. Let's take a look at the effect of your gonadotropes or of this, uh, yes, on males. Okay, your gonadotropes in males, your follicle stimulating hormone will promote spermatogenesis and androgen binding protein secretion by Sertoli cells. Your LH naman in males will stimulate interstitial cells in the testes to produce testosterone. Corticotropes. Your corticotropes, these are basophils pa rin, no? And they constitute about 15 to 20% of your anterior pituitary and secrete your adrenocorticotropic hormone or your proopiomelanocortin. Your proopiomelanocortin here is a precursor of your ACTH, or it is an ACTH precursor. Okay, please note that your proopiomelanocortin is converted into ACTH. However, in the pars intermedia, your proopiomelanocortin is what you call this is converted differently, producing your melanocyte stimulating hormone and then gamma lipotropin and beta endorphin accordingly, as well as enkephalin. Okay, that is for your proopiomelanocortin. Your posterior pituitary gland or your neurohypophysis, please note it does not have any secretory cells. The secretory cells of neurohypophysis are neurons which are located in the hypothalamus of the brain. Okay, it has a direct neural connection to the hypothalamus via the axons. Okay, the neurons, the axons, the body of the axons are located in the hypothalamus. And the axons are located in the posterior pituitary gland. Okay? Sabi natin kanina, it has a pars nervosa and an infundibulum accordingly. It consists of your non-myelinated axons of neurosecretory neurons. Again, the body of the axons, the body of the neurons are located in the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus, which wherein the axons extend to your pituitary gland. The axons do not synapse with other neurons. Instead, the axon terminals secrete neurosecretory vesicles into adjacent fenestrated capillaries. Okay? The posterior lobe or your neurohypophysis is a storage site of neurosecretions of supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei. Okay? Neurons, again, are located in the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus, and the neurons synthesize hormones that are transported in and stored at the axon terminals as herring bodies. Okay? You have your cells, your pituicytes. Your pituicytes, these are specialized glial cells of your neurohypophysis, which is associated with nerve endings and fenestrated capillaries. These pituicytes constitute 25% volume of neurohypophysis, and they have many elongated processes similar to that of your astrocytes. And yes, on staining using your hematoxylin and eosin, the cytoplasm of your pituicytes cannot be distinguished from non-myelinated nerve fibers. Your herring bodies, these are collection of secretory vesicles in dilated terminal portion of axons in the neurohypophysis. Okay, let's take a look at the hormones stored in the posterior pituitary gland, your oxytocin. Your oxytocin here is produced by the paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. Okay, the release of your oxytocin is stimulated by vaginal and cervical distension during labor. Okay, your oxytocin will stimulate contraction of smooth uterine muscles during childbirth, and it will activate milk ejection in lactating glands by stimulating contraction of myoepithelial cells. Okay, that is for oxytocin. Have your antidiuretic hormone, which is produced by the supraoptic nuclei of the hypothalamus. Okay, what does it do? Your ADH is otherwise known as arginine vasopressin or vasopressin. It will increase the permeability to water in the distal convoluted tubules and collecting tubules of the kidneys. And yes, it creates a concentrated urine after water is reabsorbed from the glomerular filtrate. Okay, your ADH is released during decreased blood pressure, and in large doses, it contracts your arterial walls accordingly. Okay, here actually is a summary of your hormones from your pituitary gland. Your somatotropin, your PRL, your prolactin promotes development of mammary glands during pregnancy and stimulates milk production after parturition. Okay, milk production po, not milk ejection. Okay, your ACTH stimulates synthesis and release of hormones from the suprarenal cortex or adrenal glands. And then FSH, you have your LH and TSH. Oxytocin and vasopressin, these are produced by the hypothalamus and stored in the posterior pituitary gland. Okay, so I guess we will end here. Let's continue next time. This has been Gael, reminding you to live fully, love deeply, laugh often, keep learning, and never forget to enjoy the ride. Thank you. Thank you. See you around.